Hi everyone, my name is Anne and this is my iMovie presentation about my trip to Belize. Before I went on this trip, I was really excited to make an impact on a community by teaching students at a local school about nutrition. I was also really excited to get to know my fellow group mates, but one of my fears was that everyone was going to hate each other by the end of the trip. I don't think that happened, and I was going into it, I really hoped that wasn't going to happen. I also wanted to remember my journey to Belize, which was also one of my fears, because I felt like on my last trip I'd forgotten it, or I felt like I never left the US. So hopefully this iMovie will help me remember that I actually went out and went on my dream to going to Belize. I hope you enjoy.
Cool.
My journey started bright and early at the airport. I was really excited to start my journey to Belize. To get to our bunkhouse, we rode 2 planes and a bus. After our day of traveling, we arrived at our lovely bunkhouse in San Pedro, Colombia, Belize. Our first full day in Belize, we went on a hike through the village. The plants and buildings were beautiful to see. It was a hot day, but the heat didn't bother me too much. I was content with taking everything in and hanging out with my group. We also got to see the school, which made me excited for the days to come.
What you waiting for? No, what you waiting for? When I dance alone and the sun's beating down, blame it on me.
Later on that day, we went to see some of the Mayan ruins nearby. I was really excited to see them because I had taken a class about the ancient Mayans. While we were there, I remembered my class about the ancient Mayans. 2 years ago, I was sitting in that classroom dreaming about seeing the Mayan ruins. Now, I can say that I've seen some of them.
Your confidence forgotten, I see.
After seeing the Mayan ruins, we went to a house made of recyclables. That house made me hope that in our world today, we can make use of the things that we recycle. Shortly after seeing the recycling project, we went to the local clinic. This was the smallest clinic that I had ever been to, but it was a functional one. Our guide was one of the nurses. It seemed like he loved his job because of how happy he was. Not many Americans seem to act that way about their job, but more of us should. The next day was my first day of teaching. The kids were so energetic and happy to see us. My entire group had a great time teaching that day. The day wasn't easy though. Halfway through the day, we came across some 6th graders that we didn't expect to teach. Honestly, I was scared of them. Middle schoolers have a reputation for being the worst students. My group overcame that struggle with the help of Dr. Gallenberg. After attempting to teach the middle schoolers, my group and I had the opportunity to sub for a class, which made our day end on a good note. Subbing was probably my favorite part of the day. The following day was my first day of work. I was excited to work on the kitchen expansion. In the morning, my group and I didn't work because there was no electricity. I thought that there would be some friction between my group and the other group because they worked harder than us the day before. After the stumble with the electricity, we worked the rest of the day away, which made me feel better about not working earlier that day. My 4th day in Belize was my 2nd day of teaching. I was excited to see the kids again and play Jeopardy with them. I had a really good time teaching the kids. I think that they had a lot of fun with us too. At the end of the day, I was sad to leave the village to go to PG for the weekend, but I was excited for a break. That night, we went to a wine and chocolate tasting. It was nice to hang out with my group members and have some fun. I think that we all needed to dance and let loose after working so hard the past couple of days. It was nice to see everyone smiling and having so much fun. The next day in Belize was the International Chocolate Festival. I was ready to buy a lot of chocolate. That didn't really happen, but I still had a good time being at the festival. It was a lot of fun walking around and exploring Punta Gorda. I got to go to the pier with a small group of people. Looking out at the ocean reminded me of going to the beach back home. It was weird to think that I was looking at the same ocean but from a different perspective.
They have no fear. Come close and lend an ear. And I say, hey, hey, leave it like we're renegades.
The following day, we learned about medicinal plants. I never really thought about the idea that cures for diseases could be found in my own backyard. This idea gave me hope that one day every disease will have a cure. While learning about medicinal plants, I felt that our teacher did not like Americans. She said that people have already found the cures for many incurable diseases like HIV, and the US government is hiding them. I think that she could be right because our government does like to hide things from us. Then again, wouldn't hiding a big secret like that be considered murder? So the government would have to tell the public about that information, right? Later that day, we went to a Creole drumming lesson. Since leaving San Pedro, Colombia, the group dynamic had changed. Drama was creeping into our group quickly, but I hoped that the drumming lesson would bring the group together. I think everyone enjoyed drumming along, and the lesson released some tension in the group. Here is some of our masterpiece. On our 7th day in Belize, we returned home to San Pedro, Colombia. The next several days, the working group and I worked very hard on the kitchen expansion. Building the kitchen expansion went from a dream to a reality. Now the children can enjoy their lunch in a place that is made out of love and hard work. Everyone in the group made their mark on the San Pedro, Colombia community through the kitchen expansion and teaching the children. That was probably my favorite part of the trip. Being able to make an impact on someone is the most rewarding thing that you can do. That's why I want to be an athletic trainer. I want to help an athlete even if it's something that someone else would consider to be small.
Can't Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you.
When our work was finished on day 9, it was time to leave San Pedro, Colombia to go back to Punta Gorda. Even thinking about it now, I miss that bunkhouse. I could live there forever if I had the choice. I miss Gustavo and his family, but as my mom would say, all good things must come to an end. On our final day in Belize, we went snorkeling. I was really excited to see the beautiful beaches that I knew Belize had to offer. The beach that we went to was the prettiest beach I've ever seen. I should be saying that about my beach back home, but then I wouldn't be telling the truth. Snorkeling in the reef was beautiful. I loved every minute of it. I was even the last one on the boat to go back to the beach. It was a beautiful last day in Belize. Belize has impacted my life in many ways. The people in Belize were probably some of the nicest people I'd ever met. Gustavo and his family were so kind to take all of us in. They were more than just hosts. They are a part of my family now. They will always be. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to teach the children in San Pedro, Colombia, Belize. Seeing their smiling faces every day made me excited to get up early every morning and take on Big Bertha. To make an impact on them was probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. I'll never forget those smiling faces of the children of San Pedro, Colombia, Belize. I don't think I could have gone on this trip with a different group. Even though there were some times where people didn't get along and cliques were created, I'd call every member of this group one of my friends. For those of you who didn't graduate or transfer, I hope to see you in some of my classes in the next year. For those of you who graduated or transferred, I hope we run into each other someday and catch up on lost time. Dr. Gallenberg, I'm so happy I met you through this trip. I'm excited to see you in class next year. I'll probably stop by your office when I get back to school to add public health as a major. Not many people can say that they've explored a foreign country with 2 of their professors, and I'm happy I went on this journey with Sally and you. Lastly, Sally, or my school mom, I'm glad we went on this trip together. I'll be seeing you when I get back to school too. As workers leaving on Friday would say, I'll see you on Monday.
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Shenandoah University, for this opportunity. This isn't goodbye, Belize. It's see you soon.